Thank you very much, and thank you very much, for providing me this opportunity. Really present, the volunteer program, in Nepal. The highlight of this program is already 25 years, and the highlight of this program is, the program has 50,000 volunteers, one volunteer every village, right? And they have been implementing evidence-based, maternal and child health program for more than 15 years, right? And they have significantly, scale up all the community-based program and reduced child mortality and maternal mortality significantly. So that's the highlight of this program, right? And I think, the question always comes how that happened. How come a volunteer? How come a country like Nepal, right, where you have all these geographical terrain, a flat land, hills, high mountains, how that happened, right? So a lot of these questions will come, and then I think I'll try to, show you how this happened. So as we heard, about, Alma Ata, our Minister of Health, she was very much impressed with that. She went back home, and then she started, the community health program. So at the central level, she started a female community health program unit within family health division. And then they had, FCSB's focal person at the district. And they had a village health worker or maternal and child health worker as a supervisor for female community health volunteers at the health post level. And this female community health worker will be selected by the mothers group, right? And which belongs to that community. So this was the structure, developed, by the Ministry of Health after, this Alma Ata. And what happened, as you know, the minister got very excited. She went back home. She said, let's have a program. External partners started helping. And she said, okay, let's give them some money. So she said, okay, 100 rupees per month for all volunteers, right? She didn't calculate, the math. So what happened, and it was $10 that time, So, but what happened when they started, distributing that, that's where the finance minister said, no way, you cannot do it. It costs a lot. It's a 50,000, right? And multiplied by 100. So after that, what happened, they stopped giving that money. They gave for 1 year, and they stopped that money, right? So you can imagine, there is a mistrust, the volunteers of, they thought that somebody is pocketing the money. They are not getting the money. What's happening with that? Somebody will say it's coming, but it never came, right? So that was kind of mistrust, and they didn't know whether they should be work as a volunteer or they should not do it, right? So the environment was very confusing, right? And you see, so when ministry started expanding, you can see all sorts of problem you will hear now in many countries are facing with that, Selection is not done properly. All volunteers didn't get the basic trainings. Refresher trainings were not there. The health facility never felt them as a part of the system, and there is no supervision, very weak supervision. There is no financial support for these volunteers, right? So that they are not motivated, but at the same time, they were adding all the different tasks to them, and expected to visit all households, everywhere the same story, right? And in Nepal also we had the same story. So then ministry said, okay, let's look at something else, some alternative, maybe this thing will not work. Volunteerism is not good, it doesn't work. So then, in 1993, the Nepal started, Ministry of Health started National Vitamin A program. So that's where I come up in the scene, right? So that's why I, joined Vitamin A program. And the task was, we have to motivate this volunteer and make them reach to all households, and get, the vitamin A capsule and deworming tablet to all children, right? So I thought, let's do the phase-wise, so we'll learn, right? So we do in few districts, we learn, and then move few districts, we'll learn. So I thought the phase-wise implementation might be a very good way to do it. But then what I found that, depending on one volunteer, it was impossible physically. It's not with money, right? But physically it was very difficult for her to go all households in a village, right, and provide services or collect information. right? So that idea, what we had, it didn't work, right? And so you can see that even watching, I think you guys are saying that once you will finish it, right? Because watching also is difficult. So you can imagine she is going, traveling in Nepal to the high mountains and hills. You can imagine what she will be doing. So with that, then the question will come, what should we do, right? And imagine, then what happened, the other programs keeps on adding, right? So here is a volunteer carrying all the program, I don't know, climbing all the mountains and everywhere and trying to, provide the services. So that was the situation. So we didn't know what to do with that, right? So we looked at and we said, what is the solution? So that time, we drew this kind of picture. We said, here you go, right? We have an option, right? Some programs look like this, and still there are many programs look like this, right? Poor volunteer or poor health worker barely holding these children or maternal health and trying to go all places. That's one scenario, right? And that program is going on. But remember, we found that this kind of program will not go more than 1 year or 2 years, right? And there is another, then what came, then came a little bit money. Give them a little bit money so that they can do it, right? But what happened, the money worked a little bit, but physically she was not able to do that. So that was the problem, So then we thought that, maybe the other option, where you can support these volunteers might be the good way to go about it, right? So then we focused on support, let's have a support. How can a community or the people who are benefiting from her service can really support her, right? So with that kind of idea, this is what we came up. Then we started bringing all sectors, agriculture, education, local development, women development, all sectors from central all the way to the community, brought them together and say, because everybody, see, serving for everybody's children, everybody should be a part of it, right? So that's what we call multi-sectoral, approach to reach at the community level. But I'll tell you, at the central level, it's difficult, but at the district level, below district level, at the community level, we found it works very well. Then what we did that, for that one, our main focus was on motivation. And it's basically in intrinsic motivation, right? And as you remember, the trust was already lost. So that was our another focus. Create that trust, right? So motivation, intrinsic motivation and trust was the main focus of this program. So we used all these different kind of approaches, techniques, how to, boost the intrinsic motivation and develop the trust. So these are the different things we did, recognition, respect the status, give them some, priority for some kind of opportunities. But one of the things we found, there are a lot of things behind that. These are the word, everybody use it. This is not new thing, but the process was important. When you say recognition, recognition by the neighbors, recognition by the community, recognition at the village, right? So it was really interesting when the community health worker was really walking, everybody was saying, Namaste. She felt that she was something in that community. So that kind of recognition they needed. But in the beginning, government gave recognition at the national level, in the radio. And poor all these volunteers, they don't have radio, right? So that's why I think we do things, but we really have to understand for them what is important, not for us, right? But I told you, we did radio and TV, but for ministers and other people, not for volunteers. So anyway, so that's what we did it, when we say status, what we did, the volunteers will report during the local development, the meeting about the health with them. So sitting with the local government, local chief, that was the status. She felt so proud, she never wants to give this up, So those kind of very simple, doesn't cost a lot, is doable. I think that really helped, to motivate these volunteers. And then giving some kind of opportunities, right? Because we really need support from the family. So if she brings something at home, everybody will love that, right? So we try to encourage with the opportunities, and then there was endowment fund. What we found that they have to meet, right, and how long they will get money from the donor agencies, right? So without, if they have some money, they can have a tea or a snacks and they have a meeting their own, right? So that's how we started this endowment fund from the local government. No outside money, it's the only local government has established that. So you can see how these women are proud of those funds. And if you look at the achievements because of those multi-sectoral, those endowment fund thing, you can see the vitamin A program was scaled up at the 75 districts, whole nation. The coverage is very high. The pneumonia program got a scale up, throughout the country. The village, the volunteers that treat pneumonia, and look at the treatment is going very well. Mortality was really reduced, and you can see the supplementation of iron tablet to the pregnant women has also a scale up. So most of the community-based programs scale up because there was a platform, there was a system there, right? So next step, I was talking that, then what I found that, then after that, I started looking at, how could a community really sustain the program without, outside support, right? How can this community volunteer can do that? So then I came up with this idea. We did, I did almost 1 year, talking to the people, doing feedback, focus group discussion, all those. So what we found that, the people in a village, they always communicate through a groups, right? If they need something, they go to the group, talk to them. If they have to tell something, they go to the group and they do it, right? So this is, and then everywhere you find some kind of groups are there, and people belongs to certain group, whether it's a small or large, right? So in Nepal, we have a different groups I was showing to you, and we also have a committee we call Health Facility Operational Management Committee, where you have most of the people as a member, right? So we took that committee and we took the members, and that we consider as a system, right? So I'll just show you one thing, how this system will work, like for example, if you want to get the information from all the villages, like these people, members bring the information there. Here are the schools, they bring the information there. This group will bring the information there from their household, health, women's group, local development, right? And community health worker, and monthly they meet in this operational management committee. And then after that, the community health worker will take that information and give it to the health facility, and that's how it gets reported, right? So that kind of system, right? How much it costs, right? Do we need to develop a meeting? Do we have to really ask them to meet? No, they are meeting. Religious group, they meet when they have to meet. The saving and credit group, they meet monthly. So within their meeting, how could you include the health? So this is what we did in Nepal, and this is what I'm doing in 6 or 7 countries in Africa, like Ethiopia, Uganda, Tanzania, and Mali. And for different programs, like chronic care in Uganda, we are looking at how this community system support help the VST to really help for this, chronic care condition. In Tanzania, we are looking home-based care. In Mali, we are looking for anemia control program. So this is what we are testing. I hope next year I can tell you more about that. So thank you very much.